It's time to get inside the Giants Huddle.
Huddle up, huddle up, huddle up.
On Giants.com.
Here we go, here we go.
And the Giants mobile
Get
app.
them in there, let's go.
Part of the Giants Podcast Network.
Welcome to the Giants Huddle Podcast, brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the New York Giants. And we welcome David Tyree to training camp. He of the helmet catch, former Super Bowl champion. David, it's always good to see you. And you know what amazes me? The first thing I look at when I see you is that you look like you could still play today. So many of these guys retire, and they gain a little weight, shall we say, but not you.
Nah, there's some folks let it go. You know, obviously, I'm a man of few opportunities. I can't let my opportunities go, so I got to keep the body right, too.
Mentality-wise, when does it actually start to dissipate that you're a player? You come back to training camp here. Do those juices and those memories kind of flood back at all, or are you behind that by now?
I think I'm definitely behind it, but it's a special time. You know, I think that every player who's had the the joy of enjoying this game, end of July and August starts rolling around, and it's a special time of the year. Obviously, this is America's favorite sport, and I think everybody's really excited about that. Even more so as a Giant. It gives me a reason to really tune in to what's going on in the sports community, so I'm excited.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about this year's team first, then I'll recap with some other things. This Giants team, obviously Kafka and Dable had such a dramatic impact on this offense. Daniel Jones picked things up. Barkley's back. What do you foresee the biggest next step up for this Giants offense, if you will?
Yeah, I'm really just looking forward to, the culture shift was a leadership 101, so I was very, very pleased with that. And I think year two is just talking about foundation and progress, and I think the health of the team will give them the opportunity to have tremendous depth and longevity. Of course, as a wide receiver, I'm excited about the Jalen Hyatt pick up in the third round. It's been a little while since we've had some height and that kind of vertical threat, even though Darius Slayton has been a consistent target for Daniel Jones. So a lot of stuff to be excited about.
You know, that wide receiver room, they've added a lot of depth and speed there, but then they stuck a tight end onto this roster. And Darren Waller, two-time 1,000-yard guy, boy, that's got to really make this passing game a lot more difficult to deal with.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You talk about a playmaker at the position, right, but also a safety net. This is a guy that can go vertical as well as be a savvy route runner at the position, which is a tremendous utility piece for a quarterback like Daniel Jones. Just the right pieces in the right places. And I think it's a fresh start for Darren Waller, too, after a couple challenging injury-plagued seasons. And I think the excitement level of playing in a market like New York, such a great organization, is going to bring something stable to that offense.
Could you tell me a little bit specifically about what a dangerous tight end brings to an offense and how it impacts the wide receiver room? Because I know you remember that well when you were here.
Yeah, it was special, of course, with Jeremy Shockey, kind of being one of those pioneer type of tight ends. It really when you talk about tying up the middle of the field, whether it's linebackers, safeties, creates tremendous mixed matches. And, when you got two viable receivers, maybe even three, it puts you in a position where there's so many different options, especially in your vertical pass game. So, I think Darren Waller, and there's no limitations to his game as a route runner especially, but it really frees up these wide receivers, double teams. There's no, takes away options of somebody, obviously Sterling's coming back. We have, Darius Slayton. It takes away doubling options on a primary target.
You're ready for a change. Payday comes early with Citizens, so go to that retreat. New you moves to the country. Now you're raising goats and launching a lifestyle brand. Are you ready for all that life brings?
Now, what would you tell the competition in this wide receivers room? Because there's a lot of it, and they can't keep them all. You and I both know special teams and also blocking for the run can be the difference between making it and not.
Well, that's what it's going to boil down to. You have to find a role. But I tell young receivers or, even veterans who are still looking to define their markets, you have to get good at something really quickly. You have to have a defining attribute that gives you a role within a team and an offense. And I think there's definitely a crowded room of guys who have played decent football in this league. And I think this is actually the right mix of talent within that receiver room to get the best out of every player there. Paris Campbell was a nice pickup. So I really enjoyed some of these free agent acquisitions. And one of my favorites is Jamison Crowder through the years, even though he's had some health hiccups. Just a phenomenal player when he's healthy. So I think this is a great mix for competition for the Giants to get some strong depth at the position.
So if the competition is so difficult at wide receiver, how does a third-round pick like Hyatt make an immediate impact and earn some reps and some snaps? Is it by purely getting behind defenders and showing his speed, or does he have to do those other little things?
I think he'll have to do the other things to prove his grit as a football player. I know he wants to be looked at as a complete, polished receiver. If you want to talk about the knocks on him, was maybe in some route running, maybe in some hands a little bit here. So I think he's going to look to add that value in those other areas. But the reality is, if we can get you stretching past safeties and taking off the top of the coverage and making some big plays for Daniel Jones and his big blue offense, which we haven't seen, obviously low on the touchdown passes, that's going to be just good enough for this Giants offense.
All right, we still talk about the fact that this is a Northeast team, and you still have to be able to run the ball, especially in December and January. But all this hype is about the passing game. Do you still think the Giants are going to have to run the ball when they want to, or are they just going to play video game football?
No, I think they're going to have to. I think that's what you want to do, actually, when you have such a dynamic talent in Saquon Barkley. I love the addition to the running back room as well. But you want to be in position for your offense to be explosive. And now you add Daniel Jones as a consistent runner within the offense. It really gives you a three-headed monster, not just in the run game, but as far as, versatility within their offense. I really, you talk about the creativity, but also versatility within roles. We see the Wan'Dale Robinson on some reverses even early on before the injuries. There's a plethora of opportunities with their talent mix to make this an explosive offense.
As someone who was part of a passing game here, what do you see in Daniel Jones that can allow him to take it up another notch?
Honestly, I just think it's confidence, right? I think that the culture shift, the belief, the infusion from a fantastic GM and head coach that kind of had a true plan for him have really proved well in year one. And just the stability. I think the confidence measure of that, okay, I've been reinforced financially. They like me. And now this is my team. This is my team. He's proven some mettle, and I think there's no questions about who he is or what he can be as a franchise quarterback.
The Giants Huddle is brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the New York Giants. From game day to every day, Citizens is made ready for Giants fans with insights, guidance, and solutions. Learn more at citizensbank.com. Giants fans love a winner. It's why they love Citizens, named a 2022 Best Bank in the U.S. by The Banker. As the official bank of the Giants and sponsor of the Huddle, Citizens is made ready for fans of Big Blue. Learn more at citizensbank.com.
You love turf. You're good at it. So you start a turf biz. Business grows, your savings grow. Become the most celebrated name in turf. Are you ready for all that life brings?
David, one of the things I need to ask you about, because it was such a big part of your game as a Pro Bowl special teams player, is what do you think the impact of the new rules on the kickoff is going to have on special teams?
Yeah, that's a tough and a bitter. You talk about reducing role, right? I'm a guy who carved a career out of the kicking game. So I really do believe it's going to be a challenge for these kind of guys when you look at, for me, it started with the Steve Taskers, Renee Thompsons. It started, and then it bled on to my generation. But even now, you look at my guy from New England, I think it's 13, 14 years.
Well, Ebner was up there for a while,
Nate
too.
Ebner was.
Sure.
You're talking about career guys who have really carved out roles. I think we're going to see less opportunity for that. Understand the preservation and health and safety protocols. It's so sad. It's kind of a sad day when we talk about the limitations in the role on kickoff.
So how hard is it, do you think, for some of these guys who are fighting for that final roster spot to then show their wares if they can't do it?
It's going to be extremely hard. I think if this goes accordingly, there's going to be less guys who can actually make that role for a career spot, or it's just less opportunity to show that I can make a play. That's really all you're asking. Give me a chance to make a play. So I'm a little saddened by it. I think I always try to be considerate of what the goal is in relation to the collective and the game that we all love so much. But I think it does take something away from the goal, and hope from the true essence of what makes football so special. And we all sign up for it, knowing the risk and the rewards as well. So I'm not personally excited about it, but I still love the game and understand what we're trying to accomplish.
So how much does that raise the level of urgency for every snap at practice and then every preseason snap? Again, there's only 3 preseason games. They changed that a couple of years ago.
Correct.
So there's a ton of pressure on every one of these guys almost every single day.
Well, there's a wise man named Macho Man Randy Savage. He said the cream rise to the top. And I think that's what every player has to kind of bet their hat on. Every opportunity in practice, you have to begin to now treat like a game, right? And the evaluation opportunities are just becoming less and less and less, especially in the most violent parts of the game. So that means you got to approach your, it can't be a buddy-buddy proposition. Tomorrow isn't promised. And you got to really maximize those unique opportunities to position yourself and set yourself apart so that the cream can rise to the top.
Okay, final question. I have to go back to your career because everybody asks you about the helmet catch.
Yep.
Let me ask you one hypothetical.
Yep.
Let's say the helmet catch did not happen in Super Bowl 42 and it happened in a regular season game. Would you still take the same amount of pride in the catch, or would it just be another catch?
Oh, it wouldn't be another catch. I think I would still take the same amount of pride. I know I wouldn't have the same measure of significance, right? So I think that's what makes the helmet catch such a unique play. It's kind of like Odell Beckham's catch is going to be one of the best catches in NFL history, but the significance is lacking, right? And I think they're fun conversations to have. For me, I take my catch 10 out of 10 times all day, every day, especially when we look at knocking off a 18-1 Patriot team. Nobody's perfect.
The helmet catch will live in perpetuity. David Tyree, always great to see you. Thanks for coming back again today.
Appreciate it, Paul.
That's David Tyree. And this has been the Giants Huddle Podcast, brought to you by Citizens, the official bank of the New York Giants.